Let us discuss clinical enzymology. This topic will help you in solve questions from general medicine and general surgery also. So what is clinical enzymology? It's about the clinical aspects of enzymes. First of all, you have to understand the term isoenzymes. What are isoenzymes? These are different enzymes catalyzing the same chemical reaction, right? So we have already seen isoenzymes in our discussion of metabolism. We have learned about hexokinase and glucokinase. Remember, glucokinase is nothing but hexokinase type 4. Okay, what is the difference between these two? They will have different primary structure. That means they will have different amino acid sequence. Sometimes they will have different organ distribution. For example, glucokinase is present in liver, beta cells of pancreas, right? Hexokinase is present in all the tissues. Okay, these isoenzymes, because they have different primary structure, they will have different electrophoretic mobility. You can separate them by electrophoresis, chromatography and all, right? So this is about isoenzymes. Why we are studying isoenzymes? You will understand when we discuss about enzymes used in diagnostic purposes. Isoforms are different. You should not confuse isoenzymes and isoforms. Isoforms are different forms of same enzyme. Okay. For example, we have learned that enzymes are phosphorylated and dephosphorylated, right? Sometimes phosphorylated enzyme will be active, sometimes dephosphorylated will be active, right? So the phosphorylated and non-phosphorylated form of enzymes are known as isoforms. Another terminology is functional and non-functional plasma enzymes. So what is a functional plasma enzyme? Functional plasma enzyme means it's present in plasma and its substrates are also present in plasma and it has a role in the plasma. For example, you have enzymes of coagulation, proenzymes. You have actually proenzymes of coagulation. You have proenzymes of complement pathway, right? You also have lipoprotein lipase. What is the role of lipoprotein lipase? It breaks down the fatty acids from triglycerides present in chylomicron and VLDL. This lipoprotein lipase enzyme is attached to the capillary endothelial wall via heparan sulfate linkage, right? So this has a function. Okay, the substrate chylomicron and VLDL, they are present in the plasma, they are present in the blood. So this is a functional plasma enzyme. Non-functional plasma enzymes are like, let me give you example, creatine kinase, lactate dehydrogenase, right? So this lactate dehydrogenase, it has role in RBC, heart, liver, etc., etc. It does not have major role in the plasma. Creatine kinase, where is the major role of creatine kinase? It is in the skeletal muscle. We have learned about creatine phosphate. Remember, creatine phosphate is a phosphagen. Whenever you need ATP, creatine phosphate will transfer its phosphoryl group to ADP to produce ATP. This is Lohmann's reaction, right? Then creatine kinase is supposed to be there inside the muscle. How come it is coming to the blood? It is because of wear and tear. See, normally there will be wear and tear of cells. Okay, because of the wear and tear of cells and tissues, these enzymes leak into the plasma. So they will be normally present. Okay, but when there is a defect in particular organ, whenever there is a muscle damage, what will happen? There will be more creatine kinase. Clear? Are you getting my point? Whenever there is a hemolytic anemia, what will happen? There will be more LDH. So, we are going to use this non-functional plasma enzymes in diagnosing certain diseases. Okay, before going to that point, let us see certain isoenzymes so that we can understand better. Look at this. Lactate dehydrogenase isoenzymes are described in this image. Lactate dehydrogenase enzyme is a tetramer. Can you see? 1, 2, 3, 4 subunits are there. So it is a tetramer. There are 5 isoenzymes possible. LDH 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. These isoenzymes can be made up of H subunit or M subunit. H stands for heart, M stands for muscle. Okay. Look at this. LDH1 is purely made up of H subunit, whereas LDH5 is purely made up of M subunit. 2, 3, 4 are like mixtures. So we can say that LDH1 and 5, these are homotetramer. Homo means same, right? So these are homotetramers. 2, 3, 4, these are heterotetramer. Are you understanding this term? Homo-heterotetramer? Good. Okay. So isoenzymes differ in their organ distribution. That is clear by seeing them. Okay. Because one is H subunit, right? This is made up of M subunit. So obviously LDH5 will be in muscle, right? They also differ in their Km value. Okay. So they will be differing in their Km value of substrates. Look at this. LDH1 favors conversion of lactate to pyruvate, whereas LDH5 favors the conversion of pyruvate to lactate. Right? In skeletal muscle, what happens? Whenever you are doing exercise, when you are doing strenuous exercise especially, what will happen? Pyruvate will be converted to lactate. So, this is the importance. Now look at the tissue distribution properly. As we have already learned, LDH1 is made up of H subunit. So, obviously, it will be predominant in heart. Okay. LDH5, it's a homotetramer of M subunit. So, it's there in skeletal muscle. So, LDH4 and 5, they are in liver and skeletal muscle. LDH2 is there in erythrocytes. Okay. So, in erythrocytes also, you know, right? In erythrocytes, glucose is converted to lactic acid only. We cannot produce acetyl-CoA in RBCs. Why? RBCs do not have mitochondria. So, there is no pyruvate dehydrogenase enzyme at all. So, we have to convert the pyruvate produced in glycolysis to lactate only. So, we need lactate dehydrogenase enzyme in RBCs. Clear? So, LDH2 is present in RBC. 3 is present in lung, lymphocytes, spleen and all. 4 is present in liver. 5 is in skeletal muscle. So, when will the level of these enzymes be high? Very simple. Look at the organ and you will find out. LDH1 will be high whenever there is acute myocardial infarction. LDH2 will be high when you have hemolytic anemia. When you have liver disorder and muscular dystrophy, LDH4 and 5 will be high. Simple, right? Look at this. Look at the pattern. You can see that normally LDH2 is higher than LDH1. Why? That is the normal thing. Okay, LDH2, that is in RBC. So, you have more RBCs in blood, right? So, the RBC wear and tear is more common than the wear and tear of heart. It's making sense, right? So, the wear and tear of RBC is higher than your wear and tear of heart. So, that is why LDH2 is normally higher compared to LDH1. Look at this. This is flipped LDH pattern. So in flipped LDH pattern, what is happening? LDH1 is getting higher. The level is flipped. Can you see? This is called flipped LDH pattern. Important MCQ. Flipped LDH pattern will be seen in which disease? Very simple. See, 1 is becoming higher than 2. So it will be obviously myocardial infarction. Right? LDH1, it belongs to which compartment? Cardiac muscle compartment. So it's myocardial infarction. Let's now discuss the diagnostic role of enzymes. This portion is very, very important. Questions will come from medicine, surgery, and even in your day-to-day life. Someone of your neighbor may ask you, I have these enzymes elevated. What disorder I have? So pay attention. What are all the enzymes elevated in pancreatitis? So pancreas is both an exocrine and endocrine gland. You know, exocrine portion, it secretes amylase, lipase and all. Endocrine portion secretes insulin, glucagon and all. Right? So in pancreatitis, which enzyme will be elevated? Amylase and lipase. Out of this, which is more specific? Amylase can be elevated in non-pancreatic disorders also. So amylase is not specific, but still in many laboratories, if you see, they measure amylase. Okay, lipase is the one which is more specific. Remember this, if they are asking you the more specific enzyme for pancreatic disorder, it will be lipase. Okay. The next disorder is cholestasis. What do you mean by cholestasis? What is meaning of coli? Coli means bile. Stasis means stagnation. So in cholestasis, there is stagnation of bile in the hepatobiliary system due to obstruction. This can be a bile stone. This can be a tumor. Okay, so the cause can be anything, gallstone, tumor, anything. So in this condition, what are all the enzymes that are elevated? You have to remember 3 enzymes. What are these enzymes? Alkaline phosphatase, that is ALP, gamma glutamyl transferase. They will see gamma glutamyl transferase. Then 5' nucleotidase. Okay, alkaline phosphatase, gamma glutamyl transferase or gamma glutamyl transpeptidase, both are same. 5' nucleotidase. These enzymes are actually attached to the membrane. So these enzymes are also known as ectoenzymes. When bile stagnates, it releases these enzymes from the cell membrane. Why? Bile is a detergent. It is a surfactant. It is like your soap only. So your soap is detergent, right? Surfactant. So this is playing the role of surfactant. Normally bile is surfactant, right? That's why it's helping in emulsification of fat, right? It helps in the formation of micelle. So bile releases these enzymes, alkaline phosphatase, gamma glutamyl transferase and 5' nucleotidase. Remember, in myocardial infarction, which enzyme level will be high? Creatine kinase has 3 isoforms: CK, MM, BB, MB. MM is for skeletal muscle, BB is for brain, MB is for heart. So here comes the role of isoenzymes. We are not going to measure CKMM. CKMM will be high in skeletal muscle disorder. Like there is a disorder called Duchenne muscular dystrophy. In Duchenne muscular dystrophy, CKMM will be high. But here in myocardial infarction, what do we measure? We measure CKMB. This is enzyme. What about a protein? Usually what do we measure? When you are going in emergency, they will measure if there is a person coming with suspicion of myocardial infarction, they measure TROP-T, troponin T, right? There is a point of care testing device. Let me introduce this term to you, POCT, point of care testing. What is point of care testing? See, you don't want the patient to go to lab, or you don't want the sample to go to lab and get it tested, because time is precious. In many diseases, we cannot have much time. So, to shorten that time, we do POCT. That is, this is laboratory outside of the laboratory. That's what in our textbook it's written. POCT is laboratory outside the laboratory, right? For example, simple example is urine pregnancy test. So you get in medical shop, it's available over the counter. The person can check by herself, right? So that is one example. For troponin T also, there is a point of care testing device. Okay, this is available in emergency wards, casualties, because everyone is not going to get MI, so it's not available over the counter. It will be there in the hospitals. They check immediately. That's the thing. It's going to give results immediately. Clear? So what is the basis of this POCT, urine pregnancy test, and TROP-T assay? Let me tell you, they are all based on immunoassays. They are all based on antigen antibody interaction. Just remember this. Right. What are all the changes in hemolytic anemia? Which enzyme will be high? LDH will be high. We have seen that LDH2 is most abundant in RBCs, so it will be high. Not just hemolytic anemia, in certain leukemias also LDH level will be high. Okay. What are the other markers of hemolytic anemia? There will be decreased haptoglobin. What is haptoglobin? First of all, what is hemoglobin? You know, hemoglobin is the transporter of oxygen, right? Haptoglobin is a protein which binds to free hemoglobin, because hemoglobin usually stays inside the RBCs. Okay, if it comes out, which will bind? Haptoglobin will bind, right? So decreased haptoglobin is indicator of hemolytic anemia, right? What about viral hepatitis or any liver parenchymal disorder? Look at this, cholestasis, it mainly involves a biliary system. Okay, viral hepatitis and liver parenchymal disorders will involve the parenchyma. Here, transaminase levels will be high. What are all the transaminases? Alanine transaminases, ALT, which is also known as SGPT. How will you remember ALT is SGPT? Very simple. Alanine on transamination is going to produce pyruvate. This we have studied multiple times. Do you remember glucose alanine cycle? There we learned, right? During fasting, there will be minimal skeletal muscle breakdown. So the amino groups of the amino acids are transferred to pyruvate to produce alanine. You remember, right? That pyruvate transferred to alanine will go to liver, then it will be converted to glucose. Clear? So ALT is SGPT. AST is SGOT. Why? Oxaloacetate on transamination is going to produce aspartate. Simple, right? Okay. So ALT and AST, these are the enzymes elevated in viral hepatitis. Sometimes ALP will also be high. Okay, especially in viral hepatitis. So mainly it's ALT and AST. These are all the transaminases. Name the vitamin which is required for these transaminases. Tell me which vitamin is required. Remember, it's vitamin B6, that is pyridoxal phosphate. Right. So in muscular dystrophies, which isoenzyme will be high? It's your creatine kinase MM, right? The muscle isoenzyme, right? In rickets and Paget's disease, which enzyme will be high? So in these conditions, there is more osteoblastic activity. So which is the marker for osteoblastic activity, that is your alkaline phosphatase, ALP. This is the bone form. Okay, alkaline phosphatase, again it has lot of isoenzymes. It is there in intestine, it is there in placenta, it is there in bone, liver, right? So in rickets, the bone alkaline phosphatase will be high. So why do we measure these enzymes? There is a child with rickets with high alkaline phosphatase. You treat the child, then the enzyme level should go to the baseline. So the enzyme level are not just used for diagnosis, they are also used for prognosis. Are you understanding the term prognosis? I hope you are. So there is a viral hepatitis patient. Okay, hepatitis A patient is there. Initially the enzymes are high. Once the person is recovering, the enzyme level will be low, right? So you can predict the response to treatment by enzyme levels, right? In alcoholic liver disease, there are two peculiar enzymes. They are gamma glutamyl transferase, the same which we have learned in cholestasis, and 5' nucleotidase. These are somewhat specific to alcoholic liver disease. So patients with chronic alcoholism and having liver disease, they will have elevated level of these enzymes. There is one more protein which is specific for chronic alcoholism. Okay, so if someone is suspected of chronic alcoholism, you can measure this protein level. Okay, you can tell the doctor, I am not alcoholic, I have never taken alcohol in my life, but the lab result will find out. What is that marker? Carbohydrate deficient transferrin, CDT, is that marker which will tell whether you are chronic alcoholic or not. What is the meaning of carbohydrate deficient transferrin? First of all, do you know transferrin? Transferrin is a protein which is involved in the transport of iron, right? So transferrin, ferric means iron, right? So it transports iron. Except albumin, all the plasma proteins are glycoproteins. I hope you might have studied this in physiology. Except albumin, all the plasma proteins are glycoproteins. What is the meaning of glycoproteins? Glycoproteins are proteins to which oligosaccharide chains are attached, right? So to this transferrin, normally there will be certain number of oligosaccharide chains attached. Alcohol interferes with this attachment of oligosaccharide chains. So the number of oligosaccharide chains will be low. That is why we use the term carbohydrate deficient. Are you getting the point? Carbohydrate deficient transferrin is a marker for chronic alcoholism. Very, very important point. Right. In carcinoma of prostate, which enzyme will be high? It will be acid phosphatase. Right? So this is a tumor marker. So in this class we are learning lot of new terms. So what is a tumor marker? Tumor marker is a protein, enzyme, hormone, receptor or oncofetal protein which indicates presence of a tumor, right? So in carcinoma of prostate, better than acid phosphatase, we do something PSA, prostate specific antigen. So this is better than acid phosphatase. So prostate specific antigen, this is specific for prostate. Okay, so this is a tumor marker. So you can use proteins and enzymes to detect tumors. Again, you can also monitor the response to treatment by decreasing level of tumor markers also, right? Which biochemical marker is used for reinfarction? Reinfarction means a person had MI, within a certain period of time, he or she is having next MI. So which marker do you use? In old MCQs, the answer will be CKMB, okay? But for new pattern, the current one, the answer will be troponin, okay? That's why I am telling this. This is the update. Based on the new textbook, the answer is even for reinfarction MI, we do trop T only, right? There is Regan's isoenzyme. So what is this Regan's isoenzyme? This is a placental alkaline phosphatase. I told you alkaline phosphatase is there in bone, liver, kidney, intestine, placenta, right? So this placental alkaline phosphatase isoenzyme is expressed in carcinoma of lung, liver and gut. How come? How come in the carcinoma of lung, liver, gut, you are getting the placental form? There is something called gene expression. What is gene expression? Expression of a particular gene. Okay. Insulin gene will be expressed only in beta cells of pancreas. In your skin, insulin is not produced. That means even though you have insulin gene, see, in all your cells you have DNA, you have all the genes. So that particular gene is not expressed. Okay, in skin you don't produce insulin, but only in beta cells of pancreas you produce insulin. So that is regulation of gene expression. In our body, there is a regulation. Whenever there is a cancer, right? Cancer is a condition of chaos. There is full of chaos going inside the nucleus. So the gene regulation is dysregulated. That is why Regan's isoenzyme, which is nothing but placental form of alkaline phosphatase, is expressed in these cancers, right? Let's understand the role of immobilized enzymes. See, so far we have discussed the measurement of enzyme activity and how we use it for the diagnosis of disease. Now, we are going to use enzymes which are immobilized in particular place. See, enzymes physically confined to a defined region of space with retention of their catalytic activities. We need their activity, right? That catalytic activity should be retained, which can be used repeatedly and continuously. So what are those? Look at this urine dipstick test for glucose. So if someone is giving a urine sample in the laboratory, they check for urine glucose, urine protein and all, right? So the urine dipstick test for glucose is based on immobilized enzyme only. In that dipstick, there will be glucose oxidase. In the urine, there will be glucose. So you are dipping that stick, right? The dipstick has glucose oxidase. It will act on glucose to produce D-gulonolactone. No need to memorize the names and all. Don't worry. Just know that H2O2 is produced. In the same dipstick, you have a peroxidase. This will act on the H2O2 and it will convert the chromogen which is present in the dipstick to a colored complex. Now tell me, the amount of color produced will be directly proportional to what? Hydrogen peroxide. The amount of hydrogen peroxide produced will be directly proportional to glucose. Clear? That is why in the laboratory they will say na glucose 1 plus, 2 plus, 3 plus. This is all based on this test only. So this we call as GOD POD, glucose oxidase peroxidase, GOD POD method. Okay, good. So based on this method, there are a lot of immobilized enzymes used in the clinical diagnosis.